What's up, YouTube? This is Buck with Buck and Chuck Gaming, coming at you with it's going to be actually a new series here, and it's actually going to be reviewing slash a retrospective on the Mega Man series. We're going to start with the original series itself. So it'll be Mega Man, I guess 1 through 11 now, since there have been several sequels on next gen consoles, but overall started with 1 through 6 here on the NES. I'm just going to give a little bit of a breakdown, a rundown of each one, kind of my individual thoughts, and just some neat history on it. So without further ado, as you can see the footage on the screen already playing there, let's go ahead and begin and talk about Mega Man 1. And Mega Man 1 is an interesting kind of beast here. As you can see, the power-ups, a lot looks different here, but you gotta realize this was the standard bearer and the forerunner for the rest of the series. And it was released back in '87, the same year that yours truly here was born. And it came out in December 17th. It actually had a worldwide release, which was pretty rare, especially back then. Japan didn't get it first. It actually came out in Japan, the US, and Europe on December 17th of '87. And it started the whole pick your own stage, pick your level kind of genre that has been defined and really perfected by Mega Man itself over the years. And it was just revolutionary back then because there was no other game like it. And one huge thing you'll notice from the Mega Man, the graphics, especially for the NES, are crazy good, and especially for 1987. If you'll remember, a lot of the NES games back in the days, take for example the original Super Mario Brothers, all the graphics and everything kind of blended in together. And that's because Mega Man was actually the very first game. Capcom was really one of their first titles here that they designed from the ground up for consoles instead of just being an arcade game. They actually put outlines around the characters and actually gives them a depth perspective where you won't see in games like earlier games such as, like I said, like the original Super Mario Brothers. And they definitely adapted that later on. Nintendo did when things like Mario 3 came out in 1990. But Mega Man is actually the first game to do that and make the graphics take a huge leap in quality and forward. And you can definitely see that in the series and in NES games. A lot of them after this point took a huge leap in the graphics department thanks to Keiji Inafune and Mega Man. And he was the Keiji Inafune gets a lot of credit for actually kind of creating the series, but in the original game he's actually just an art designer. But did go on do great things and help the Mega Man series go on to great heights, and then he created Mighty Number 9, but we're not going to talk about that at this point, unfortunately. That was just a misstep there. He also did Azure Striker Gunvolt, which is a fantastic game, so check that one out. Just avoid Mighty Number 9. Just getting back to Mega Man here, Mega Man was one of the first games, like I talked about before, you could actually choose your own path. And Mega Man 1 actually only had 6 bosses versus the usual 8 of actually every other Mega Man game from this point going forward will have 8 bosses. But I mean, this is the first time you could beat a boss, you gotta steal their power, which all this, you guys have to remember, is absolutely revolutionary on the NES, and had been nothing like it. I know myself as a kid, just speaking personally, I mean, I started with Mega Man 2, but once I got through that and tried these levels and actually got to steal the powers of the bosses, I was hooked from then on and have been a fan, some 33 years later here. And Mega Man 1 is also a pretty hard game. If anyone's played this one, played the Yellow Devil, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth a play. It certainly is. And I mean, it's not as good in my opinion as a lot of other games, but it does still hold up, through 2020 glasses. And with all that being said, I want to thank you guys a lot. And if you would like, share, and subscribe, I definitely will be back with more Mega Man videos in the future here. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next week or so in Mega Man 2. Thank you.